Hello and welcome to First Taste, the show where we listen to albums for the first time and discuss it.
Indeed.
I'm Matthew.
I'm Chris Tuffa.
It's like you have to have...
We have to go full names today.
Oh, okay, right.
Do we?
I thought your name was like, it had a pause,
Yeah.
there, like a full stop in your name.
There's a comma. Legally, there is a comma in my name in the middle of it.
And today we are listening to the new XX album, I See You. What are your expectations of this album, Chris?
It'll be pretty sparse, I think.
Yeah.
I think their releases are always notably and infamously sparse in terms of instrumentation, and it kind of works for them. It's got this whole almost minimalist kind of vibe to it.
They have such a good sense of space.
Yeah, they do, yeah. But then again, they did kind of exhaust that formula on Coexist.
For sure.
And that was by far my least favourite thing I think any of them have done.
Are you looking forward to it? Or?
Oh, yeah, big time. I've only heard On Hold, the lead single, and I really like that. I've had that on a lot.
When I think of the perfect XX song, I actually think of Loud Places from Jamie's solo album. Like,
agreed.
That's excellent.
Which is kind of a dig at Ollie, because it's just got nothing to do with it.
I kind of don't care for Ollie.
Oh, poor Ollie.
So Loud Places, but also On Hold, like, kind of takes what Jamie was doing, and I think if they can make a whole album out of that with a bit more of an XX sound, with those guitars and whatnot, I think it could be their best album yet.
Yeah.
So today for our drinks, we will be listening to I See You with an icy brew. And it's even got a picture of a mountain because it's all snowy and cold. Yeah, I did well. I did good.
You don't have to explain it to me. The only reason I'm not angry is because it's very hot here right now. So that's
well, let's
a
open
good
them up,
decision.
then.
Well done.
Let's open them up.
Yeah.
Let's throw on the album and open them up.
Open them up as we open it up.
Yeah. Oh, I thought that was about to, like, head into Zelda, like...
That would have been amazing. We just dissed Ollie moments ago, but he does have some good bass lines, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I haven't heard too many good bass lines by Ollie, but this one is... This one's great.
Oh, they're always fairly simple, but I reckon they're quite effective.
I mean, that's the XX in a nutshell, isn't it? Simple but effective. Cheers.
Cheers.
This is by far the biggest XX song I've ever heard.
Yeah.
Kind of reminds me a little bit of everything that was on the Gatsby soundtrack.
Yeah, right.
Like that 1920s sort of...
The brass.
Yeah, it's probably the brass, yeah.
Everything they do just sounds so clean, hey? I'm gonna get this wrong anyway, so I'm just gonna get it over and done with. Romi?
Romi?
I don't know which way to pronounce it.
I think it's Romi.
Her voice is near flawless.
Yeah, she's grown a lot in the past.
Like in confidence and...
Yeah, and as a vocalist, and I think she's really come into her own from the first album. Oh no. That is a garbage bin.
This first track, notably of course featuring Garbage Truck.
We gotta stop. We gotta stop.
Oh man, that's awful.
At the very beginning, the XX was very simple vocally.
It's like whispered. It was incorrect mic technique. It was all the hallmarks of a shy singer.
Yeah, and with Oliver like mumbling essentially all his lines.
Exactly.
But this is a fully realized version of it.
That's actually a really good way to sum up this first track in general, because you can even the beat is almost straight off In Colour.
Yeah,
like
definitely.
On Jamie's side, his production's come so far, and then
Yep. And then Romi's vocals have come so far, and
Ollie's enunciating his words a bit more. I think she's quite an underrated guitarist too. She gets some really nice textures and
I never felt that the XX used textures that much with their guitars. Like it was all very
straightforward and clean.
Yeah.
It just cuts through the mix so well.
Yes,
I love it.
absolutely.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
I can already like hear them settling into a bit of a groove already in the album, and they do settle into grooves really easily in albums, but I think it's to their detriment. Like you get about halfway through an XX album and they start bringing out these tracks which aren't really adding anything to the album, and I don't know, I don't want that to happen really early, you know?
I like that pad that's just come in underneath there. It's kind of nice. Your third voice, do you reckon? Or?
Yeah, I had a third voice in there. I didn't know if it was a sample or Jamie.
Yeah, maybe.
That one didn't do too much for me, to be honest. How's this? I feel like we're about to get a trap song. Oof.
It's cool.
Oof.
I really like that kind of mixture of distortion, I think it is, and then it's just super reverby.
Yeah.
It's just played in a canyon.
I feel like they're always very reverby, but they actually do limit it a little bit. I feel like you're watching them play in a garage or something like that.
Well, if you're speaking of Jamie specifically, I mean, he is garage house.
Yeah.
It's the dumbest genre ever. Garage house shed.
You're just naming different parts of the house.
Living room, garage, house. I really like that.
Yeah,
whatever it is, it's great. Even the hand claps. Hand claps can frustrate me because they're so overused, but they fit really well.
I think the XX are at their best when they're a bit more dynamic. Islands and crystallized and that sort of stuff.
So good.
This is vibing really hard to that. It's totally different, but it's got that same sort of vibe, and I think when the XX try to do something a bit unique or like more atmospheric and stuff, they begin to lose me really quickly.
Yeah, what's striking me about this song is that it's just revolving around that central idea so well, but with enough variation and dynamic shift that keeps you engaged. This is very familiar territory. Yeah. So fun.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Until you get that dance beat.
Yeah. It's like the slightest touch of staccato to that synth, where it's like there's a really little bit of attack in it, which makes it kind of intriguing.
Yeah. Because of that little attack on the synth, you're expecting it to build and build and build. Yeah. And I like that Jamie can use that in a totally different way.
There's something about bass drops that makes me feel like I'm a caveman. It sounds weird, but it's so instinctively... It's so instinctively and primitively enjoyable. Yeah. It's just you hear it, it's just like, oh, cool.
So do you think you're being teased in this song?
A little bit, yeah, because it just dropped off then.
Yeah. Oh.
Nice.
Okay, fine, Ollie. You're a good bassist.
He's going out hard, man. He's trying to win you over.
But this moment right here would be nothing without Romi either.
No.
They're so tight as a group of three, and they all bring something really unique except Ollie.
Yeah. You should be in the XX instead of Ollie.
Yeah, I know, I could do such a better job. Oh my goodness. That was really nice, like the orchestra strings coming in, that was really nice. Oh, that was nice.
Yeah.
The background sort of moan.
That reminds me of like Low Roar.
Yep, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
Tense.
That guitar is so like Jeff Buckley.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
I think the amount of restraint Jamie's already showing is pretty impressive. Yeah. When you've like seen him perform live, not in person, but like he always uses the sample pads and the he's so easily on every song could just be laying this ridiculous rhythm down, but you can't teach restraint, basically.
That string is just amazing. It's like slightly dissonant.
Yeah, and like detuned almost.
Yeah. Oh, that was beautiful.
That was good.
The performances on that was incredible from really everyone, and
apt.
It is, yeah. It is very apt considering it was called Performance. All three of them killed it.
Yeah.
On that song.
Almost half of that song threatened to be Coexist era, Yawn, XX type thing, but then it did well enough to just keep you hanging in there. Just DD Dumbo.
Oh, it does sound like DD Dumbo, doesn't it? Yeah.
I just worked it out.
What did you work out?
Ollie is the only thing separating the XX from being DD Dumbo. As soon as that bass line came in, I was like, it's definitely not DD Dumbo. Isn't the DD Dumbo guy's name Oliver as well? I'm pretty sure.
You're right. You're right.
There's the
link. Sounds like this song has already been sung. That describes the XX. How's that space slide there?
Yeah.
See, there's another guy there.
That must be Jamie, right?
I guess so.
Or they're just absolute jerks to people who feature on their songs because there's nothing there. I like this word.
I'll be honest, I've listened to this song a couple of times, but it's probably one of my favourite XX songs ever.
Yeah.
It's kind of perfect, it's quintessential, and it's doing something new.
It's really interesting now too, listening to it some 8 tracks deep into this album. This is the only one that has samples, really. Even at all. There's been like no samples. Speaking of samples though, this is such a good sample.
Oh my goodness. It kills me.
Yeah.
It kills me every single time.
So cool.
Sample. It's so good. I kind of wish I hadn't heard it.
Yeah.
So that it could be a surprise like
this would have been
in.
We haven't talked about White Nationals up there.
We don't need to talk about White Nationals up there.
Up tempo, hey. Although the XX kind of redefines what up tempo means.
Yeah.
In the sense that by comparison it only has to be 100 BPM.
They do up tempo, but they don't go loud. And
yeah, no, that might be why. And when something's up tempo, you almost automatically want to call it frantic, like
yeah, well, no, it's not frantic at all.
Which is the furthest thing from the XX.
It's like really controlled.
Yeah. It's doing quite well in terms of not detracting from the lyrics and the vocals too.
It's a bit strange to me because it's not, like, it's probably one of the weakest parts of this song.
Yeah.
The lyrics. And this track isn't doing too much for me. Feels a bit filler.
Well, it's like, it's pleasant, but pleasant doesn't get you excited about the XX 3 albums deep.
Yeah, exactly.
Pleasant to death.
Pleasant that bird to death. Yeah, again, just like the sense of dynamic range, like, you know, they can have the most up-tempo songs that they've ever done, but then this song is one of the least. It's a nice synth though.
Yeah, it's like tinnitus.
That's not what I meant by nice.
It's like a grenade's gone off and you're deaf now.
Oh, that's actually really nice, actually.
Orca? Or are we going?
It does have that underwater sort of vibe.
I'm not really familiar with my whale timbres, so
it does sound a bit like a whale song, doesn't it?
Well, if it is a whale song, incredible engineering feat, man.
Also, no credit to the whale.
Yeah, no. What is happening, man? All jokes aside, I've enjoyed that dynamic since it's entered. Bit of glitch.
Yeah.
Sneaking in there.
It kind of feels a bit out of place for me. It's like they haven't done anything like this for the rest of the album, and you know, if they had, then I could be like, okay, I can see like they're building on that, but it's kind of just felt like, oh, we needed a way to build and finish the album. Maybe if they really committed to it and went all out, it would have been a great way to end, but they kind of half-heartedly started a bit of glitch, and then within half a minute it kind of died off, and it's like, well, what was the point of that?
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but have they ever built a song up to just the absolute extreme and let loose?
I don't think so.
If anything, most bands do that, and they struggle to be restrained and to not do that. But they're almost, it's second nature to them to the extent where they never just let loose.
They never do it. Yeah.
I think I really enjoyed aspects of that. Again, I don't just want to give all the credit to Jamie, but I imagine he has probably the biggest say in post and in mixing, and I'm sure the other guys have learned stuff along the way. Collaborating with him has probably lets him into the control room.
I'm sure they have. I don't know what it is. I'm sure they have. I'm sure it's been an enlightening experience for them both. But they've been able to glean something off him.
I did enjoy. Why am I saying he? They tested themselves out a bit more, and there were moments of really layered and almost I don't know if maximal is the word, but like opposite of minimalist. Pretty much.
I think they just filled out their sound.
Yeah. And just the fact that On Hold was the only use of a sample.
That was really interesting. Yeah, it felt like a feature.
But yeah, there weren't that many curveballs or anything.
I'd agree with that. I think the biggest curveball was On Hold, but that was the lead single. Mm-hmm. So you kind of knew what to expect, or at least go into it with a different sort of idea of what the XX was going to be. And then the other curveball, I think, was the first track.
Yeah,
with
the
those
opener
brass
was
sections.
great.
But apart from that, it did feel very XX. Mm-hmm. Just a more full version. As I've been going back and listening to Self-Titled and Coexist, I thought that Coexist was filling out their sound a bit, but now that I've gone back and listened to it, I'm like, it's basically the same.
Yeah.
There's not a lot that they added to that. But this had a lot more immediacy to it.
Yes, definitely.
Had a lot more dynamic range. This should have been their second album, I would say. It's close enough to the XX that it's still very much them, but it is actually trying something new. And it feels a bit weird that we've had to wait 8 years to get this album, in my opinion. But it's decent. I think it's actually like up there with the first album.
There are songs on the first album that we have to remember, like VCR and everything that, you know, I know for me personally, I didn't really think anything of them to begin with, but then they did sit with me for a while, and it was like, this is actually great. So in that regard, I definitely want to spend more time with this album.
Yeah.
And that, in a way, that's what a first listen and should accomplish, pretty much. It's just you want to go back and explore it a bit more. Like you were saying, the opener was fantastic. I really enjoyed Lips too.
I really love Performance as well.
Performance was good, and that is one of the less immediate ones. That's one of the less upfront, and that one was captivating. You
can see the improvements that they've all made as performers and musicians, and so hopefully they keep that momentum going. I think we have a little bit too much time between XX albums.
Yeah, that's right.
I like them to be releasing a bit more music, make it a bit more organic.
That would make them a little bit more uncomfortable and in a bit less of a comfort zone, pretty much. And I think that would test them. Do you think it did enough or to distinguish itself from being just another Jamie XX album? Like,
yeah, definitely.
I think it did pretty well. That's one thing that I was very wary about Jamie's solo stuff.
The biggest thing In Colour, those songs are very percussion based. A very drum and bass sort of feel to a lot of those songs.
Quite grimy too, in a way.
Yeah. None of that here.
No.
Like, it's very guitar based indie rock.
That's right.
And I think that shows a bit of Jamie's flexibility.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's about it. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next week. There'll be a video up next week. Let's go film that now.
Yeah. No more waiting.
Yeah, the illusion is ruined.
Yes. Oh, what's that? New...
I like that synth beat that they've got going. Jamie's really pushing the boundary here.
Really lo-fi.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. Yeah, like this industrial sort of sound and...